Hey friends, Maggie Fleece here, and today I want to do something very, very special for you guys because we hit 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's also 1 year on YouTube today from our very first upload. So I just want to thank you guys so much for supporting me over this past year. It truly means a lot to me for all of you to support me on YouTube, on Twitch, on Instagram, and on Twitter. You guys are truly amazing, and I want to do something special for you. You guys have been asking me to do an AMA, which is an Ask Me Anything. So I asked you guys on YouTube and on Instagram, what do you want to know about me? And these are the following questions. The first question comes from Uncle. He asks, what's your oldest video game memory you look back fondly on? My oldest video game memory, I would have to say, I must have been in first grade or maybe kindergarten, but I was sitting on the couch with my grandma playing the N64. She was playing Mario 64 at the time, and she would have me read the game prompts that came up on the screen. She actually taught me how to read because of video games, and she's the entire reason that I love video games today. Question 2 comes from Squidwolf. What made you want to be a YouTuber in the first place? I was the kid that always had a video camera in their hand, always filming my friends. We were doing really funny, silly stunts. Anytime there was a school project, I always wanted to do it in video form. I just naturally grew up loving video cameras and loving editing. Question 3 comes from Moxley Fan, and they want to know, what made you start streaming on Twitch? Now, Twitch is a little different than YouTube, and I've been doing Twitch a lot longer. I've been streaming on Twitch for almost 5 years come this October, and what really piqued my interest about Twitch was that you can play with people all around the world, and I loved that concept of forming a gaming community that was worldwide. I thought that was so cool that you can connect with somebody in another country and be their friend and play video games. So I wanted to form an online community that centered around people from all over the world sharing their interests and having a safe space on the internet. Question 4 comes from Socially Sarah. What is your dream place to go on vacation? This is a really hard one because there are so many really awesome places around the world that I have yet to visit. I would have to say it would have to be in China or Japan. I really love those cultures, and I would love to get to go on a history tour and really get to experience the countries for what they are. Question 5 comes from Mary. Do you want to start a family in the future? And if so, what would your perfect family look like? Yes, I would love to have a family. Ever since I was a little girl, I always thought that I would be a mom. And my perfect family looks like, I want 2 children, a boy and a girl, one that I want my own and one that I want to adopt. And I would love to have at least 2 dogs. Dogs are my favorite animals. I already have 1 dog. You guys have seen Ripley in photos on Instagram as well as the recent vlog that I did. But I would love to have at least 2 dogs and 2 children. Question 6 comes from Vian. How are you so happy all the time? I actually get asked this a lot. People are always wondering, how am I so bubbly? How do I stay so positive? I do take mental health very seriously. I definitely strive to do things that make me happy and stay away from things that don't make me happy. And that includes activities as well as people. If there is someone that naturally always upsets me, I try to limit my interactions with them, and that makes me happier. I also do something for myself at least once a week that I want to do. Nothing my friends want to do, nothing my parents want me to do, something that I want to do. So an example of this would be trying a new class, whether that's a rock climbing class, a yoga class, maybe a dance class, whatever you want to do that's for you, that doesn't involve social media, is definitely one tip that I have to improve your life and make you a little bit happier. Question 7 comes from Gold Silver. What is your favorite food? Now, despite my username, my favorite food is actually, drumroll please, my favorite food is actually soup. I know that's super crazy, and a lot of people are like, ew, soup, but soup is so good. It's just really, really warming in your belly, and it makes me really happy. It's my comfort food. Question 8 comes from Zoe. Why did you have the YouTube name Mac and Cheese Please, even though you're lactose intolerant? So this is actually really interesting. I've had my username for 5 years, but I actually just found out I was lactose intolerant last year. So I've only known about my milk allergy for the last year, maybe 2 years or so, but I've had the username Mac and Cheese Please for far, far longer. Question 9 comes from Noi. When did you decide to become a vegan? So this is actually really interesting because I've been vegetarian for 9 years, but my first year into being a vegetarian, I tried to go vegan. I was successful for like 6 months, and then my friend took me to a cupcake shop that she swore up and down had vegan cupcakes. Spoiler, they did not. That is my weakness, so I caved in and had a cupcake, and then from then on, I was vegan at home, but vegetarian out at restaurants until about 1.5, 2 years ago when I figured out that I actually have a dairy allergy, and so I don't consider myself full vegan. Question 10 comes from Jordan. How did you meet Drew? I met Drew 3 years ago at a convention called PAX South in Texas. Now, PAX South is a video game convention. Drew and I met at Bar Rojo, which is a bar attached to the hotel that the convention center is at. When we first met, I actually was just standing in line to get a drink. He had told me that he knew a mutual friend named Hannah Bart, introduced me to Hannah Bart, and then walked away. I didn't see him for the rest of the night. But then the next day at the convention center, I was walking by the Breath of the Wild booth that Nintendo had. The game wasn't released yet at the time, and I started crying. As I'm crying, he's walking this way and I'm walking this way, and he's like, hey, it's you. And I'm like, hey, it's you. And he's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, the graphics are so beautiful. We hung out all the convention. Then we started dating. So yeah, that's how I met Drew. Question 11 comes from My Anonymous. Who is your greatest inspiration? My greatest inspiration is actually a streamer slash YouTuber. Her name is Kitty Plays. I absolutely love her. She is a female in the gaming industry, and she is so inspiring to women everywhere. She is so amazing, and she's very, very positive. I love her vlogs about positivity and just centering yourself in appreciation. She is one of my favorite people to watch on YouTube, and I highly, highly recommend her channel. Question 12 comes from Glass Joe. What is your favorite childhood video game series? This is a very, very hard question for me because I loved so many games as a kid. I would have to say, if I had to put my finger on it, my favorite video game series as a kid is The Legend of Zelda. I absolutely love Ocarina of Time. It's a very, very good game, but some other games I grew up playing were Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Banjo-Kazooie, Mario. I just love those games to death, and I would say that those are the foundation games that really, really grew my love for video games when I was a kid. Question 13 comes from Allie, and I have to say this might be my favorite question that you guys asked me. She asked, if you turned into a giraffe all of a sudden, what would be the first thing you would do? This is a really hard question because I honestly don't know what I would do as a giraffe. I might just stand tall and like prance around and shake my little giraffe booty and just look at the world from that tall. Maybe even climb a mountain if giraffes climb mountains, just so I can be the tallest thing on top of a tall mountain and just have an amazing view of the world. Question 14 comes from Ricky. Do you do your own thumbnail art or does somebody help you? This is an interesting question because before I used to have 2 thumbnail artists that helped me. Loveland and Keiko. They are absolutely amazing and really, really talented individuals, but I started doing my own thumbnails a couple of months ago. So I actually do all of my current thumbnails. All the drawn stuff is made by either Keiko or Loveland. Question 15 comes from Madeline Draws. They ask, when did you have your first kiss? Now this is really crazy because I actually remember this. My first kiss was in preschool. I know that's so young, but my first kiss was to a boy named Johnny. We were playing house and the person who married us said, now kiss the bride, and we actually ended up kissing. Question 16 comes from Fox Ray Pew Pew. When you see yourself living your dream life, where do you imagine it? For me, my dream life is somewhere in the mountains, in a cabin in the woods, overlooking a lake. I love adventuring and just seeing mountain views from all the different hikes I go on. So if I could own a little cabin in the woods, that would be a slice of paradise and where I would want to live for the rest of my life. Question 17 comes from Mike16. What's your favorite dessert? I would have to say my favorite dessert is cupcakes. I think they're the perfect amount of dessert because you have this little bitty piece of cake with some frosting and sprinkles on top, and it's the perfect amount, and it doesn't feel like you didn't get enough, but it doesn't feel like it's overly sweet. For question 18, I put two people's question into one because they were very similar and it kind of goes over a little bit of everything. The Real Kudo asks, what are your PC specs? And Yak Dahlia asks, what microphone and screen recorder do you use? The microphone that I use is the Audio-Technica A2020, and the screen recorder that I use is OBS. It's a free software, and I use that to record all of my YouTube videos as well as go live on Twitch. Now, the other half of that question is, what are my PC specs? Now, before I tell you this, I want to preface this with my computer is very old. I built it 5 years ago, and I have barely upgraded anything besides my RAM and my power supply. Those are the only things I've upgraded since I built my computer. So I'm running 32 gigs of RAM. My graphics card is an AMD Radeon R9 3800 series, which isn't a good graphics card. Don't get that one. My processor is an Intel Core i7 5820K CPU at 3.30 gigahertz, and my motherboard is an MSI X99A SLI Plus. I am also in the process of looking for another motherboard, processor, and graphics card, but that's currently what I'm running. That's what I bought 5 years ago, and that's still what I have. Question 19 comes from Jillian. Did you ever feel like there was no hope and the feeling of giving up? I promise things do get better, Jillian. I had a really, really rough go of it when I was in high school. I think high school is really hard for a lot of people, so you just know that you're not alone in this, and it does get better. When I got older, I realized that a lot of the things that I got hung up about when I was younger didn't even mean anything, and I was spending a lot of extra energy being mad at something that was completely out of my control, or something that was in my control, but I wasn't seeing the vision clearly enough. So I promise, when you get older, things will get better, and you do have more control than you think you do. Our last question, question 20, comes from Writer's Block. What is your favorite game besides Minecraft? I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. Minecraft is not my favorite game. My favorite game of all time is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. A lot of my childhood memories come from the N64, and I have to say that's probably my favorite game ever and my favorite game on the N64. So if you have not played The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and you don't have an N64, pick it up on your 3DS because it is so good, and in my opinion, it ages really, really well. And that concludes our Ask Me Anything. Thank you guys so much for 50,000 subscribers on YouTube and 1 year of support on the platform. You guys are so amazing, and I don't know what I would be doing without you. Seriously, all the love from Twitch onto YouTube and YouTube onto Twitch, seeing the two communities intertwine has been amazing, and it really just warms my heart. So thank you so much for all the support. If you did not get your question answered, let me know in the comments down below, and I will do my best to respond to as many questions as I can. As always, always, I'll put links to my Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram in the description down below, as well as the link to our Discord channel, the best place to connect with the community. Until next time, bye friends!